รายการต่อไปนี้เป็นรายการทั่วไปสามารถรับชมได้ทุกวัย
สนับสนุนโดยแลกเงินด้วยบัตรเครดิตกสิกรไทยเที่ยวก่อนจ่ายทีหลังไม่มีค่าธรรมเนียมผ่อนชำระได้จากธนาคารกสิกรไทย
สวัสดีค่ะ National Gallery สิงคโปร์หรือหอศิลป์แห่งชาติสิงคโปร์นับเป็นสถานที่ทางศิลปะแห่งใหม่ของประเทศสิงคโปร์นะคะซึ่งมองจากภายนอกมีความสวยงามเป็นอย่างมากเพราะว่าเป็นการเอา2อาคารเก่าคือศาลฎีกาเก่ากับศาลากลางเก่ามาดัดแปลงแล้วก็ทำให้กลายเป็นหอศิลป์ขึ้นมาส่วนภายในนอกเหนือจากสถาปัตยกรรมที่สวยงามแล้วก็ยังเป็นการแสดงศิลปะร่วมสมัยของศิลปินสิงคโปร์และศิลปินจากทั่วเอเชียตะวันออกเฉียงใต้ด้วยสัปดาห์ที่แล้วพาไปดูผลงานศิลปะของสิงคโปร์แล้วสัปดาห์นี้เราจะไปเดินดูผลงานศิลปะจากเอเชียตะวันออกเฉียงใต้กันบ้างค่ะหอศิลป์แห่งชาติสิงคโปร์เกิดขึ้นจากการที่รัฐบาลสิงคโปร์ต้องการรักษาอาคารศาลฎีกาเก่าและอาคารศาลากลางเก่าที่มีความสำคัญทางประวัติศาสตร์พร้อมๆกับต้องการสถานที่สำหรับแสดงงานศิลปะที่มีการสะสมมากขึ้นในสิงคโปร์หอศิลป์แห่งชาติสิงคโปร์มีผลงานศิลปะถึง 8,000 ชิ้นนับเป็นสถานที่จัดแสดงผลงานศิลปะร่วมสมัยที่ใหญ่ที่สุดในภูมิภาคนี้เมื่อสัปดาห์ที่แล้วเราได้ไปเดินชมทางฝั่งอาคารศาลากลางเก่าไปแล้ววันนี้เราจะไปที่อาคารศาลฎีกาเก่าซึ่งเป็นสถานที่ทางประวัติศาสตร์ที่น่าสนใจอย่างมากค่ะเริ่มจากส่วนห้องโถงของอาคารศาลฎีกาเก่าซึ่งยังคงความสวยงามทุกอย่างไว้ไม่ว่าจะเป็นบันไดที่มีรูปทรงและลวดลายคลาสสิกเพดานไม้สักสีน้ำตาลเข้มเหมือนบล็อกช็อกโกแลตรวมถึงแผ่นศิลาฤกษ์ที่มีไทม์แคปซูลฝังไว้ด้านล่างด้วยค่ะ
Is it true, Lisa, that underneath the foundation stone there's a time capsule?
Yes. So when this foundation was laid out in 1937, there was a time capsule containing the newspaper and coins issued, around that period that went with it. And we're not supposed to open this time capsule until year 3000.
Oh, 3000!
So, yes.
That's too long.
It is very long.
We wouldn't get to open
it's a very
it up.
important historical relic from that time.
What about this staircase?
Yes, so this is also a very important feature of the building. So everything you see from here and to the plaque that suggests the history of this building, we've kept them all intact.
The holding cells of the Supreme Court, and you guys do keep them intact.
Yes. So actually there used to be more of these holding cells. There used to be more than 10, but we decided to keep 2 of them so that the visitors can still, retrace the history of this building by even coming inside, taking photos, and it actually has drawn a lot of attention from the visitors, much more than we expected. Yeah.
You even keep toilet there.
Yes. So that's just a sign of how much attention to details we paid in historical conservation of the building.
ห้องขังนี้เดิมไว้ใช้เป็นที่กักตัวผู้ต้องหาก่อนที่จะถูกนำตัวไปพิจารณาในศาลจะไม่มีผู้ต้องหาค้างคืนที่นี่ดังนั้นภายในห้องขังจึงมีเพียงโถส้วมและม้านั่งเท่านั้นโดยโซ่ดึงเพื่อชักโครกจะอยู่ข้างนอกเพื่อไม่ถูกนำมาใช้เป็นอาวุธทำร้ายตัวเองของผู้ต้องหาค่ะ
So is this the original Chief Justice courtroom?
Yes, yes. So that is where the Chief Justice used to sit, and that is the witness stand. And behind, where you see the portraits, that is where the observants sit and listen to the very important court cases, which used to be handled here. Because this is the very first room in Southeast Asia Gallery where we start our narrative from the 19th century, which is the colonial period, we thought it would be very interesting to incorporate the historical features, building features from this period into the display itself. So that is why for this room we decided to keep most of the historical features intact and incorporating it into the exhibition design itself.
สิ่งหนึ่งที่โดดเด่นของอาคารศาลฎีกาเก่าคือโดม2 โดม โดมแรกจะสามารถเห็นได้ชัดเจนจากภายนอก ส่วนอีกโดมจะหลบอยู่ภายใน ซึ่งในส่วนของโดมนี้ถูกใช้งานเป็นห้องสมุดกฎหมายค่ะ
Is this the dome that we can see from the outside?
No, actually there are two domes in this building. This is the smaller dome that is invisible from outside. You can't see it from outside. So underneath this dome we have what used to be the former law library. And we have kind of, paid respect to the original history of the space by converting it into a reading room and a space where we exhibit various primary documents that inform the curation of the gallery surrounding it.
But this is the exact location where the library used to be.
Yes, this used to function as the library.
ช่วงหน้าเราไปชมผลงานศิลปะเด่นๆของศิลปินเอเชียตะวันออกเฉียงใต้ที่จัดแสดงในหอศิลป์แห่งนี้กันค่ะ ในส่วนของอาคารศาลฎีกาเก่าเป็นที่ตั้งของ UOB Southeast Asia Gallery ที่จัดแสดงผลงานศิลปะร่วมสมัยตั้งแต่ศตวรรษที่ 19 จนถึงปัจจุบันของภูมิภาคเอเชียตะวันออกเฉียงใต้จำนวนราว 400 ชิ้น
This is a very big painting.
Yes.
Yes, and what is the meaning of this?
Okay, so this painting it was made by Javanese artist by the name of Raden Saleh in 1849. And Raden Saleh was one of the few Southeast Asian artists who went to Europe and had made a mark for himself over there, participating in salon exhibitions and so forth. So by this time, he had spent almost 20 years sojourning in Europe, and he created this painting as a gift to King William III of the Netherlands. And if you think about it, this was still during the colonial period. Mm-hmm. So for an artist from the colony to be presenting his work to the king was a remarkable achievement at that time. And 1 year after he presented this work to the king, he was conferred the title King's Painter.
Wow.
And it is the largest work that we know of that he ever painted in his life, and also the largest work in the whole of Southeast Asia Gallery. Yeah.
What's the message of the painting?
There are many ways to interpret it, but what's interesting is that obviously, it's depicting a group of animals fleeing forest fire. And in Raden Saleh's work from this period, he very much liked to a dramatic scene where the power of the nature is highlighted. So I think he's trying to create that very dramatic sense of the nature by maximizing effect with depicting these wild animals fleeing the scene of the forest fire.
So we now move to another courtroom, but according to all the art pieces that we can see, they are of newer periods.
Yes, yes. So here we're looking at works ranging between the period of about 1920s to 1930s, and this was a period when a lot of the art systems that we take for granted today, like exhibitions, artist groups, competitions, and art schools were being established. So this one corner, we're looking at works by very famous artist, Italian sculptor, who served as the first dean of the Faculty of Fine Art in the School of Fine Arts in Bangkok, which is now, of course, the Silpakong University. I'm sure you know, you're very familiar with that history. So his works are being displayed here to kind of convey, what kind of aspects he emphasized in his education. And I think at the basis of his curriculum, there was an emphasis on Western academic traditions, which you see very clearly, being represented by his own work. And if you compare his work with his students, which is over there, Kiang Musuri's sculpture, which I think won the gold medal in 1949, the first national exhibition. You can see that aside from acquiring the skills of Western academic tradition, his students were also invested a lot of effort in studying their local history of representations, and that's why you see with Kiang Musuri's work there is a synthesis between this newly acquired skills of Western academic methods with some visual languages that was inspired by especially Sukhothai period Buddhist sculpture.
This painting is considered one of the very most important paintings.
Sure.
Why is that?
So in Southeast Asia Gallery, we have works by Singapore artists as well, and it's important for us to exhibit works by Singapore artists within the context of the region as well, and see how it can connect to the rest of the region. So this work is by Singapore artist Chua. It was painted in 1955 when Singapore was seeking its identity as a Malayan nation. So you see a very young community leader reciting the poem of Malayan, nationalistic poem of Malayan, and then with a group of very young people kind of transfixed and listening to his powerful words. It's amazing the amount of detail the artist.
There's even a fly.
Yes, and
at first I thought, is that a real fly?
Yeah. And even this glass of water that's, the listener is so attentive that he's not realizing that the water is about to spill. Yeah. And the peanut shells, all these details kind of help the painting to have, even though it's a very performative, almost like a scene from a theater performance, it carries a very powerful realism to it because of that.
And what is this artwork?
Okay, so this is, I think you could consider it as a kinetic sculpture. So as you can see, it's moving, yes. And actually every day this work changes its expression. It's never the same. It's very different from moment to moment. So it's a work made by an artist called David Medaglia.
What's the meaning of this?
No, I think I leave the visitor to answer that question. But it makes us think of what is a sculpture. We tend to associate sculpture with this very heavy stone or steel structure. But as you can see, this is comprised of very light foam that is never the same. And the artist, I think, intended to make one think of what is a sculpture, what is an artwork, and how. And he's precisely, asking us to ponder these questions.
This is a very interesting installation. So, can you please explain this artwork?
This work is by Thai artist Montian Burma, and I think the title of this work might give us clue as to how to approach this work. So the title is The Pleasure of Being, Crying, Dying, and Eating. So it talks about the different processes of life that every human being goes through. And I think that's why of the various elements that he has used in composing this work, it all takes this cyclical kind of logic to it. And when the artist first presented this work in Bangkok in 1993, I think the visitor had touched it. Parts of the tower fell and it broke, but the artist kind of embraced that happening as it is, and he left it be. Yeah, with the shards around it. Yeah, and that was also very beautiful. But in this edition, I think we tried to recreate when it was first presented before the accident.
นอกจากผลงานของคุณมนเทียนบุญมาแล้วที่หอศิลป์แห่งชาติสิงคโปร์ยังมีผลงานศิลปะจากฝีมือของศิลปินไทยมาแสดงอยู่หลายชิ้นอย่างที่จัดแสดงอยู่ที่ลานด้านหน้าแกลเลอรี่คืองาน Shocking Pink Collection ของศิลปินมานิต ศรีวานิชภูมิซึ่งเป็นชุดภาพถ่ายเสียดสีล้อเลียนสังคมโดยมีนายแบบสวมเครื่องแต่งกายสีชมพูแสดงความบริโภคนิยมที่ฉาบฉวยตามสถานที่ต่างๆหรืออย่างผลงานศิลปะ Exotic 101 ที่มาในรูปแบบของภาพเสียงวิดีโอสอนเต้นระบำรูดเสาของศิลปินไมเคิล ชาวนาใสที่สร้างความสนุกสนานให้ผู้มาชมงานศิลปะเป็นอย่างมากค่ะ หอศิลป์แห่งชาติสิงคโปร์นับเป็นโครงการขนาดใหญ่ยักษ์ของสิงคโปร์ใช้เวลากว่า 10 ปีในการสร้างด้วยเงินลงทุนราว $530 ล้านสิงคโปร์หรือ 13,000 กว่าล้านบาทความยิ่งใหญ่นี้เกิดจากความตั้งใจของรัฐบาลสิงคโปร์ที่ต้องการจะให้หอศิลป์แห่งนี้เป็นสถานที่แห่งความภาคภูมิใจของชาวสิงคโปร์และที่สำคัญต้องการยกระดับสิงคโปร์ให้กลายเป็นศูนย์กลางงานศิลปะของภูมิภาคนี้
What are the benefits that Singapore expects to get out of the National Gallery?
Resurgence of national identity and pride is quite it's not something you can manufacture. It happens or it doesn't happen. And I think what's been really nice for us to see that people come in here. First of all, they get to experience these two buildings that were out of their reach. When people didn't come to the courthouse or to the government buildings just for a day out. So many of them had not been in here. So when they walk through the history, they recognize it. And we have building history markers throughout the building which tell you a little bit about the history of the building. So they learn as they come through. And then when they're exposed to the artwork, I think they're genuinely pleasantly surprised. They did not know Singapore had such a legacy, such a history of developing of modern art. And so I think when they get to know more about themselves, they start to feel quite proud of themselves. And I think that's a wonderful outcome.
I think it's really nice. It embraces like the cultural and the heritage of the place. Yeah. It's a good way to repurpose a building that maybe they don't use anymore, and it's a great thing to add to something that Singaporeans can go to every day to go visit. I think it's good. Like Singapore can be a bit businessy sometimes, so it's good to come and get a bit cultured and I don't know, like get your creative side flowing by seeing other people's artwork.
Yeah, I think the general mindset before was Singaporean was not as cultured. There were not as many places to go to see art or see movies or hear music. So I think that's a big thing that has boosted the tourism, and with more tourists coming, this is a great addition to what people can do.
What about the economic returns expected?
I think art galleries are not really big business models, and I think that if we had more to make money, maybe this would not be the thing we would put here. I think first of all our criteria is to really have the visitorship, and we really want to bring people here, expose them as much as possible to what's here, really have it become a part and parcel of their life, and we really want to in a way grow a future generation of museum goers and art lovers. And I think it's a great unifier for a country like us where we have many races and many languages to be able to see this common identity coming through. It's a wonderful feeling, and I think that's our key deliverable here, not so much the financials.
Does the National Gallery help raise the profile of Singapore on the international stage?
I think it has undoubtedly done that, and it has done that very well in the lead up to it. We were very pleasantly surprised at how many countries are aware of us and how many were very interested. I think in general people sort of look at this as really a key offering in the world stage of new museum building. I think it has received very good reviews, the buildings themselves, and we are waiting for people to also talk about the art, and which they are.
I really love that it's all buildings, so that you see the history of the place, like here in Singapore. You see a lot of new buildings, so I think it's really good that they used old buildings as well to do this exposition. So I think it's lovely they do that. Well, we talked about that, my friend and I, that we really see in Holland we see the landscape of Holland, and now we see a lot of paintings that use the landscape of here. So that's really new for us. So that's really nice to see.
What would you say to criticisms that more museums or galleries built are catered only to a certain group of the public who might be interested in art, but not to the general public?
Right. I think in our case we have anticipated that. In fact, that was one of the key questions that we asked ourselves 10 years ago. What would bring the average Singaporeans here? And while we recognize that some of the artwork may not initially interest them, like I said, we are growing the future generation and exposing them. One of the ways we expose them is through children's education, and we have a beautiful Keppel's Children Education Center which runs classes and which exposes school children to it. We do tours, and the numbers that have been coming there are incredible. I mean, they love to come, their parents are there, so we know that that's already catering to a large part of the population that may not have come and visited the museum. The other way we're doing it is through eating and drinking. We know Singaporeans love their food, so we did provide a lot of cafes and restaurants in this, and that has been drawing people. It's a slow way of introducing art to people, and we are just letting people take their time, get introduced to it, so that it does not feel like it is the purview of a few people and who just get that. Actually, anybody and everybody has been walking through our doors. Sometimes they come to look at the view, and then they stay for the art. So I think there are many ways of exposing people to the art. It's not always very serious, and I think we've been successful in that.
แม้ว่าการสร้างแกลเลอรี่แบบนี้จะต้องใช้เงินมหาศาลแต่สิ่งที่คนสิงคโปร์ได้รับก็คือการได้เรียนรู้เกี่ยวกับประวัติศาสตร์ศิลปะและวัฒนธรรมทั้งของประเทศตัวเองและของประเทศอื่นด้วยเปรียบเสมือนห้องเรียนห้องใหญ่ที่เปิดโอกาสให้ทุกคนได้เข้ามาเปิดโลกทัศน์ค่ะพบกันใหม่สัปดาห์หน้าวันนี้สวัสดีค่ะ